Hello, hello. Welcome back. Okay, we're going to get started with our topic today, and it's all about freeing yourself. These are 5 things you can do to get rid of some of the unnecessary burdens that you're carrying around, okay? So, like, you're trying to level up, and you're doing bigger things, you're doing better things, you're growing, you're striving for excellence, and then you hit this plateau, or you seem to get to this place where, like, you can't really get over the hump. So, we're going to talk about some things you can do to get rid of some of the burdens that you're carrying, because the reality is like you're like a little rocket ship, right? And in your rocket ship, you're about to take off. Like right before they actually like have lift off, they do the countdown, they check through all the protocols to make sure everything is like fastened and secured, and that they have everything they need before they take off, whether it's supplies or whatever. You're like that rocket ship, okay? You really are. And everybody who is torn between like, do I want to level up or not? All of the people who are just haters, all of the people who are just not going to do anything. They're too busy living in the past or too busy talking about who they were, who you were, whenever. All of those people are going to get left behind because we're going straight to the stars. This is all we're doing. All right. So let's get into this. What are some things that we can do to free ourselves of some of these unnecessary burdens? And the first thing that we can do and get rid of are our clothes. Okay. Don't go throw your whole closet away unless you're just going to buy a new closet. And if you got it like that, go ahead. Ain't nobody mad at you. However, clothes is a really good, easy, simple place to start. And really anything in your surrounding that's not useful, whether you clean out your living room, your closets downstairs, like your coat closets, your kitchen, whatever. But we're really just starting with clothes, because when we get ready, when we get dressed, when we go out into the world, clothes are how we represent ourselves, right? So let's start. Okay, so we're beginning our process and we're going through our clothes. Make sure you begin with things that just simply need to be replaced, okay? These might be some of your basics. Maybe your black shirts are not as black as they could be, like your undershirts, or like your white shirts are not as white as they could be, whatever, just things that need to be replaced. Stockings, pantyhose, it doesn't matter how big or how small, just start with the things that need to be replaced. All right, second, I think you should go with things that you don't wear for any reason, like whether they're too small, whether they're too big, whether they are things that you might have worn when you were younger, or things that make you look older, or whatever. But for whatever reason, you don't wear these items, okay? You have a whole closet and you can get dressed. They can be clean, they can be hung up, but you never choose those pieces. Get rid of them, okay? They're holding you back, they're holding you down. It's just clutter in your life. And believe it or not, but your soul is kind of like your house. And when you walk in, everything that you have is a direct reflection of who you are, right? You can't help it. When you buy things, it's the person you are. And some things we have are who we are now, and some things we have are who we were. So get rid of those things, right? The next thing, or the last thing, I really feel like under the title of clothes that you should be getting rid of is things that are not on brand for you. And what do I mean by on brand? On brand is when you have a clear definition of how you want to represent yourself at all times. And this can be in various categories. And I'll give you an example of how I choose things that are on brand. So on my Pinterest, I have different boards, and each one of my boards is separated by a category of like particular item. For example, and this was a hint that was given to me, so it's definitely something I feel like people can use. But go through and figure out a word that really represents you, okay? The word that I use to represent me is sophisticated. I really believe in sophisticated, elevated things. So I have like a sophisticated pajamas board. And on my board, I have all kinds of cute pajamas, whether it's like winter and fall, like some of the longer pajama things, whether it's like some of the sexier pajama things, whether it's some of the summer pajama things. But I have a board of all kinds of pajamas that I believe represent me well, or would represent me well. You can choose this based off body type, like if you're more pear shaped, or you can choose this just simply off preference. Some people prefer like a top and a bottom set. Some people prefer like gowns or little sexy nighties or baby doll tops, right? There's there's no limit on what you can do and how you go about it, but start creating your brand. Another category I have is like sophisticated outerwear, sophisticated summer things, right? I love cute summer dresses, but a big thing that I had to get rid of out of my closet is like the basic cotton t-shirt dress. I was a queen of the cotton t-shirt dress, and there's nothing wrong with the cotton t-shirt dress, but just at this stage of my life I just don't want to wear them. I don't feel like that particular item represents me to the best. Now sundresses or things that I find that I feel like are pretty or feel like are sophisticated or represent me, however, I will put those on a board. And then when you begin to shop again, because you've gotten rid of things out of your closet and you have space for new things to enter into your life, when you get ready to shop, you're not so bogged down on, okay, what do I want to buy? Do I want to go and just buy something on sale? That's not the answer. Do I want to just go to Fashion Nova or go somewhere and just shop until my cart is full and push pay? That's not the answer. When you have vision, you are able to go through and say, these things are on brand for me. These things are on trend for me. You can create a capsule wardrobe, right? You can always go onto YouTube or wherever, and they have capsule wardrobes. A capsule wardrobe is essentially when you get your wardrobe down to anywhere from 20 to 30 pieces that represent you per season. So if it was my fall winter capsule, or depending on your seasons, because I know everybody lives in different places, but if it was like my fall capsule, I might have all of my burnt orange items, or I might start having little mop turtlenecks or whatever things I feel like truly represent me, longer sleeve tops or longer bottoms, right? Then you could have a capsule wardrobe for winter. This is your pea coats, this is your boots, your tall over the knee boots, these are booties, the little short boots, or however. But you have so many items that no matter what you grab, you 100% look on trend and on brand for your own personal brand, right? You look 100% authentic to your own idea of what you should look like, right? Okay, getting into our next topic, or our next thing that we can kind of get rid of, is a lack of vision. And this goes back to whether it's the creating vision boards, or having a Pinterest boards and Pinterest accounts, or Googling things and researching things. But it's also a lack of vision, not just about clothes. It's lack of vision for your life. What kind of houses do you want? What kind of house do you want to live in? Do you want to live in a house? Do you want a condo? Do you want an apartment? What would you like it to look like? Do you want the whole modern, all white vibe, or do you want more of a country aesthetic with the farmhouse thing? Do you want, like I said, do you want a condo? Do you want to be downtown? Do you want to be in the suburbs? What is it that you are striving for, and what does that look like? And you might either, like I said, create a vision board, or you might either create Pinterest boards or Google Images, or just go on Instagram and maybe save some things that you really feel like represent you and represent your life. Because the reality is, you're either going to live your vision or you're going to live somebody else's vision for you, right? You're either going to do the things that you want to do, or you're going to do the things that other people want you to do. And a big part of having vision for your life is understanding your desires, right? And this is an opportunity for you to create spaces, create vision for your desire. What do I want? Okay, I want to buy a house for myself, and I want to have at least 3 investment properties. Maybe I have 3 children and I want each one of my children to have an investment property. Or I want a house for myself and I want to have at least an Airbnb downtown. Or I want to have a nice home and I want a pool. Okay, I want a really nice outdoor space. Or I want an open kitchen. Like, what do you want? And as you begin to tap into what you want and tap into your desires, this is your vision. This is what you want, right? That's what vision is. Oh, I see for myself. I want for myself, right? You're tapping into those desires. And the further you go into it, you'll realize the thing that was burdening you was a lack of vision. I say it all the time. The biggest detriment to our mind is uncertainty, because then it creates fear, and then we get clouded by all that fear and all that uncertainty. However, when you have vision, when you have purpose and focus, you know exactly what you're doing. You know exactly where you're going. You have navigated your space, right? There's a book, and it's called The 21 Irrefutable Laws of Leadership. And one of the laws of leadership is the law of navigation. And he goes into this story, and I'm not going to go super into it, but he goes into this story about how there's two countries racing to put their flag at the North Pole, and about their journeys. And basically, as a leader, as a person who is leading a team of people, and you might not think of yourself as a leader in this moment by creating vision boards, but you are. What if you have children? How will you help? How will you lead them? How will you guide them, right? What will you tell them when they are having moments of uncertainty? How will you direct them? And a big part of the law of navigation is you have to know where you're going. You can't lead somebody to a destination if you don't know where the destination is. So another thing that's truly burdening you is a lack of vision, right? The next thing that's burdening you, or another thing that we can get rid of, and it really decreases a lot, right? A lot of things that we're carrying around is our wanting to save other people. This was really big for me. I think that there are a lot of good people. I've known people. People have told me their stories. You've had conversations with people. I've had conversations with people, and we know them. We understand through our journey that them being beside us, they really want the same things or something similar to what we are striving for. But for whatever reason, they can't get out of their own way, okay? They sabotage themselves over and over and over and over. And sometimes when we love that person, we continuously try to save them. We continuously try to help them. We continuously do whatever we can for them. But it gets to this point where if a person wants to do something, they have to do it themselves. I'm from the country, and we have this saying that says you can lead a horse to water, but you can't make him drink, right? Because you could take him all the way to the actual destination. You could be an incredible leader. You could have vision for yourself. You could have vision for everybody on your team. But if they don't take that leap, they won't get there. Right? And that's okay. Everybody's entitled to their own experience. Some people don't want to. I've met people and they've said things like, oh yeah, you're doing financial literacy, or you're into finances and things, and you're like, yeah, I like this, I like real estate, I like trading, right? I like stocks and all kinds of things. And they say, wow, I like that, but I don't need all that money. You say, oh, really? I say, no, I don't really care to have all that money. Like, I don't need it. They're entitled to their own experience. They are. They don't want it. So because they don't want it, it's not a desire in their heart, you can't really have vision for their life, right? So even if you try to drag them along, even if you try to explain to them how beneficial it is to think about their future and have vision for their future, they can't do it because they don't want it, or they don't want it bad enough, right? Remember the rocket ship, right? You're taking off, you're leaving, and some people are kind of torn between do they want it or don't they want it or whatever, and they keep going back and forth. You can help anybody, but you can't save, like, you can save no one. You can help anybody, but you can save no one. And a thing that is burdening us, I feel like especially as women, is we want to nurture, we want to care for, and we want to see the return on investment, the growth that whoever we are investing in, we want to see that. And that's okay. I think that's love, and I think that's beautiful. But I also think at the end of the day, they don't want to. For them, pulling them, and they're kicking and screaming, and they're actually dragging you down. You would be better off letting them go. And this is the whole purpose of this, freeing yourself. Because when you're free, you can move. You can move silently. You can move quickly, quietly, however you need to get it done, because you're not being weighed down by a bunch of people who know everything about you and actually don't care. Right? It's kind of sad, but it's true. There are people, they just don't care. They see you, and it's so crazy because when they're around you, they feel bad sometimes. They feel like, it's like if you put on makeup and you get dressed and you're going out somewhere, and the person you're with is not dressed up. If you were to go to their house and they see you dressed up, they'd be like, let me change and put something else on. So, well, you don't have to change if you don't want to, right? Because everybody's entitled to their own experience. You don't have to change if you don't want to. Well, I don't want to be with you and you're all dressed up, right? You doing your best and striving for excellence actually makes them feel bad about who they are, because they know they're not putting that same effort into themselves. So if you were going to be somewhere at 7 and then you arrive at your friend's house at 6:40, and you got to wait for them to change clothes and do makeup and do all the things they should have done at first, now you're late. You see how they're dragging you down? Like, it's not purposeful, and I don't want it to come off mean-spirited, but the reality is, a thing that is holding you back is trying to save other people. Okay, let's get into the next thing. The next thing that you can really do to help free yourself is to let go of worry. You need to let go of worry. Stop worrying. You're going to drive yourself insane. Stress is a silent killer. If you think about from a religious standpoint, there are people who pray and they put all of their faith in God, and there's nothing wrong with that. I think that's great. Okay, I think you should put your faith in God. I think you should say, I've done my best. God will take care of me, right? If you're not religious, then what are some things you can do to not worry? It might be to, I always believe in intentional journaling, and a prompt that I use myself daily is I'll write down 4 things. The first thing I'll write down is my dreams, right? Okay, I dream to be the version of myself that I want to be, right? Then I write down my fears. I'm afraid that I will not reach my financial goals by the time that I set for myself, whatever. Or the third thing is annoyances. I am annoyed by people who have a hard time being able to let go, right? I've met people and they want to do it, but something is holding them back. And I'm already at this point where I'm really starting to let a lot of things go, right? And so you're like, come on. You're like, I can't save nobody, blah, blah, blah. And it's kind of an annoyance to me. It's just what it is. And then the last thing is blessings. I'm blessed that I'm born in this time where I, as a woman, can help other women, where I am a woman and I can still stay at home. I can still have those traditional values, but I can also go to work. I can also own a business. I can also own a house, right? There, you think about a time when women couldn't even own property without having a co-signer that was a husband or a brother or somebody, a man, right? So this worry, you're going to have to figure out how to let all that worry go and all that stress go. It might mean that you need to have a better nighttime routine, right? So I have a friend and she'll tell you straight up, like, I'm going to take a glass of wine and I'm going to watch a movie and I'm going to bed. For me, I'm a hot tea drinker. I enjoy a cup of hot tea, some intentional journaling, and a little prayer. Some people have to unwind. I also enjoy stand-up comedy because like the laughing kind of calms me down. Like it helps me unwind. But whatever you need to do to let go of some of that worry. The last thing that I suggest in the name of like letting go of stress and worry and things that just bother you are eating better, because sometimes when you eat better, it can actually really affect your hormones and the chemicals in your brain and your body. Drink plenty of water, that kind of thing. And B, make sure that you do the best you can. I think sometimes the worry comes from people not doing their best, not striving for excellence. It's like if you give it all you got, there's a level where you just don't worry. Or not on the same level, right? Think about it like this. Imagine you had a project to do. Imagine you had something to turn in. Maybe you're in school, right? And you had some homework or something, right? So you're doing your work. You got to the end of it and you were sleepy or you were tired. And you say, okay, I'm tired of working. I'm going to go to bed. But I know I need to spend another 15-20 minutes and just do the best. You're like, I don't care, I'm going to bed. So then you go to bed, you wake up, you go to class or you go to school or whatever, and you turn in your work, and the whole time you're like, oh, I should have done those that last part. I know it wasn't the best. And then you get like a bad grade, or maybe you get like a C when you were trying to get an A, right? You're like, oh, I should have put that extra time in. But that worry came from not just doing what you know you need to do, sucking it up and putting forth that full effort, because that's a lot of the worry, right? If you go out and you're like, oh, do I look okay? Do I look okay? Well, did you take every moment that you had? If you know you have to be somewhere at 7 and it's something that's very important to you, maybe a gala, maybe you're going with Bay and he's a high-powered whoever, and you want to make sure that you represent yourself well and represent him well, right? Do you start getting dressed at 6:15? No, you don't. You say, well, I'm going to be there at 7. You don't get dressed at 6:15. You start earlier than that so you can have time to make decisions, time to change your mind, time to take a break and rest, listen to a little music, or whatever other rituals you do, right? For me, whenever I go somewhere, I have my bath, I turn on music, I might have something nice to drink, and then I get ready slowly. And if I change my mind, if I change it, I'm not rushing. You can rush and start sweating, girl. It's a whole mess. So are you doing the best you can do per the situation. That limits a lot of worrying. And last but not least, the thing I want you to let go of is the how. This was very, very hard for me. This was very hard for me, and this has been very hard for people that I talk to. I find that a lot of high performance people, okay, people who are striving, people who have no problem with vision, and people who have no problem not saving others or carrying other people who don't want to be saved, right? The thing that they get stuck on and tripped up on is the how. You might say to yourself, I want to help people. Imagine if I was a little girl. Okay, let's just start at the beginning. I'm a little girl and I see something sad, right? And I say with the purest heart, just a little girl, oh wow, I want to help. Okay, I want to help. Now, when I was a little girl, I'm not trying to tell my age, but when I was a little girl, the internet didn't exist. Okay, when I was a little girl, people got the AOL free CDs. That's how, okay, millennial. But when I was a little girl, the internet didn't exist in the way that is today. YouTube did not exist. So if all I wanted in my desire, we talk about the lack of vision, the vision was I wanted to help. And all of that in my desire of wanting to help, I couldn't know how to make the internet and figure out how to make YouTube and figure out Instagram and Google and all these things. Like, I didn't know those things, and those things literally didn't exist. So if you get hung up on the how so much, sometimes when you take yourself out of the position of desire, you start overwhelming yourself, and it actually slows you down. Just live at the desire counter. Just live at the desire counter. I want to help. I want to be better. I want to be the best version of myself. I want to elevate. I want to learn. I want to grow. I want someone who can provide for me on the level that I can provide for myself or better. I want to learn how to invest in the stock market. I want to dress better. Whatever it is you want, just want it, okay? Don't worry about the how. I want to dress better. Not how am I going to get enough money to buy the things that I want. Now you're stressing yourself out, okay? You're slowing yourself down. You could literally be somewhere, and I have a friend, and she loves thrifting. I don't care for thrifting. I think it's too much going through stuff. I'm not into it. But I have a friend who thrifts, and she lives in a city big enough where she thrifts, and they have great things. And she's like, I want this, whatever, Chanel bag, blah, blah, blah. She literally went to a thrift store and found one. She's like, this is the exact one I wanted. She wasn't like, oh, I want a Chanel bag. How am I going to find the $6,000 that it costs? And who going to pay for it? And am I going to get a credit card? Or am I, right? You'll drag yourself down. You'll bog yourself down. It's overwhelming your mind. Don't worry about the how. I want blank. I want blank, and leave it at that, and leave that how business up to God or the universe, or God created the universe. If you're religious, if you don't believe in religion and the universe and spirits or whatever, it's not the point. Whatever you want it, and don't worry about how you're gonna get it. I've seen people and they'll say, oh, I want money, but I don't have time to get another job, and do I need to start another side hustle, or what I need to do to get money? And it's like, then somebody dies and then they are left an inheritance. There goes money. Right? Or somebody says, I want a new house. I want a new house, and blah, blah, blah. I'm renting now, and I want to buy a house, but my credit, I don't know how. And then all of a sudden their landlord says, hey, I'm moving, I'm retiring. But since you've been living here and renting from me for 5 years, if you'll pay the rent for 2 more years, you can have the house. Wow. Okay, you never know how things will work out for you, because that's not your concern. The how is not for you. The how is not for you. It's bigger than you. Want what you want and be okay with that. Be okay living at the desire counter. Okay, so I hope you enjoyed the video. Please don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. I want to hear from you. What other topics would you like me to talk about, right? And also, don't be afraid to let some of these things go. Don't be afraid to take baby steps, right? And with that, I'm going to leave you. I hope you have a wonderful week. And as always, goodbye.